Section 4 of Daddy Longlegs. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Joe Carabas. Daddy Longlegs by Gene Webster. Section 4. Sophomore Year. Dear Daddy Longlegs, behold me, a sophomore! I came up last Friday, sorry to leave Lock Willow, but glad to see the campus again. It is a pleasant sensation to come back to something familiar. I'm beginning to feel at home in college and in command of the situation. I'm beginning, in fact, to feel at home in the world, as though I really belonged to it and not just crept in on sufferance. I don't suppose you understand in the least what I'm trying to say. A person important enough to be a trustee can't appreciate the feelings of a person unimportant enough to be a foundling. And now, Daddy, listen to this. Whom do you think I am rooming with? Sallie McBride and Julia Rutledge Pendleton. It's the truth. We have a study and 3 little bedrooms. Voila! Sallie and I decided last spring that we should like to room together, and Julia made up her mind to stay with Sallie. Why, I can't imagine, for they're not a bit alike. But the Pendletons are naturally conservative and inimical. Fine word, huh? To change. Anyway, here we are. Think of Jerusha Abbott, late of the John Grier Home for Orphans, rooming with a Pendleton. This is a democratic country. Sallie's running for class president, and unless all signs fail, she's going to be elected. Such an atmosphere of intrigue. You should see what politicians we are. Oh, I tell you, Daddy, when we women get our rights, you men will have to look alive in order to keep yours. Election comes next Saturday, and we're going to have a torchlight procession in the evening, no matter who wins. I am beginning chemistry, a most unusual study. I've never seen anything like it before. Molecules and atoms are the material employed. But I'll be in a position to discuss them more definitely next month. I'm also taking argumentation and logic, also history of the whole world, also plays of William Shakespeare, also French. If this keeps up many years longer, I shall become quite intelligent. I should rather have elected economics than French, but I didn't dare, because I was afraid that unless I re-elected French, the professor would not let me pass. As it was, I just managed to squeeze through the June examination. But I will say that my high school preparation was not very adequate. There's one girl in the class who chatters away in French as fast as she does in English. She went abroad with her parents when she was a child and spent 3 years in a convent school. You can imagine how bright she is compared with the rest of us. Irregular verbs are mere playthings. I wish my parents had chucked me into a French convent when I was little instead of a foundling asylum. Oh, no, I don't either, no, because then maybe I should never have known you. I'd rather know you than French. Goodbye, Daddy. I must call on Harriet Martin now, and, having discussed the chemical situation, casually drop a few thoughts on the subject of our next president. Yours in politics, J. Abbott. 17th October. Dear Daddy Longlegs, supposing the swimming tank in the gymnasium were filled full of lemon jelly, could a person trying to swim manage to keep on top, or would he sink? We were having lemon jelly for dessert when the question came up. We discussed it heatedly for half an hour, and it's still unsettled. Sallie thinks she could swim in it, but I am perfectly sure that the best swimmer in the world would sink. Wouldn't it be funny to be drowned in lemon jelly? 2 other problems are engaging the attention of our table. First, what shape are the rooms in an octagon house. Some of the girls insist that they're square, but I think they'd have to be shaped like a piece of pie, don't you? Second, suppose there were a great big hollow sphere made of looking glass, and you were sitting inside. Where would it stop reflecting your face and begin reflecting your back? The more one thinks about this problem, the more puzzling it becomes. You can see with what deep philosophical reflection we engage our leisure. Did I ever tell you about the election? It happened 3 weeks ago, but so fast do we live that 3 weeks is ancient history. Sally was elected, and we had a torchlight parade with transparencies saying McBride forever, and a band consisting of 14 pieces, 3 mouth organs and 11 combs. We're very important persons now in 258. Julia and I come in for a great deal of reflected glory. It's quite a social strain to be living in the same house with a president. Bonne nuit, cher daddy. Acceptez mes compliments. Très respectueux. Je suis votre Judy. 12th November. Dear Daddy Longlegs, we beat the freshmen at basketball yesterday. Of course, we're pleased. But oh, if we could beat the juniors! I'd be willing to be black and blue all over and stay in bed a week in a witch hazel compress. Sally has invited me to spend the Christmas vacation with her. She lives in Worcester, Massachusetts. Wasn't it nice of her? I shall love to go. I've never been in a private family in my life, except at Lock Willow, and the Semples are grown up and old and don't count. But the McBrides have a house full of children, well, anyway, 2 or 3, and a mother and a father and a grandmother and an Angora cat. It's a perfectly complete family. Packing your trunk and going away is more fun than staying behind. I'm terribly excited at the prospect. 7th hour, I must run to rehearsal. I'm to be in the Thanksgiving theatricals. A prince in a tower with a velvet tunic and yellow curls. Isn't that a lark? Yours, J.A. Saturday. Do you want to know what I look like? Here's a photograph of all 3 that Leonora Fenton took. The light one who is laughing is Sally, and the tall one with her nose in the air is Julia, and the little one with the hair blowing across her face is Judy. She is really more beautiful than that, but the sun was in her eyes. Stone Gate, Worcester, Mass., 31st December. Dear Daddy Longlegs, I meant to write to you before and thank you for your Christmas check, but life in the McBride household is very absorbing, and I don't seem to be able to find 2 consecutive minutes to spend at a desk. I bought a new gown, one that I didn't need but just wanted. My Christmas present this year is from Daddy Longlegs. My family just sent love. I've been having the most beautiful vacation visiting Sally. She lives in a big, old-fashioned brick house with white trimmings set back from the street. Exactly the kind of house I used to look at so curiously when I was in the John Grier home. I wonder what it could be like inside. I never expected to see with my own eyes, but here I am. Everything is so comfortable and restful and homelike. I walk from room to room and drink in the furnishings. It is the most perfect house for children to be brought up in, with shadowy nooks for hide and seek, and open fireplaces for popcorn, and an attic to romp in on rainy days, and slippery banisters with a comfortable flat knob at the bottom, and a great big sunny kitchen, and a nice fat sunny cook who has lived in the family 13 years and always saves out a piece of dough for the children to bake. Just the sight of such a house makes you want to be a child all over again. As for families, I never dreamed that they could be so nice. Sally has a father and mother